So, we're in the middle of our series, right? How to follow Jesus. Okay, so we're in week number 3 now. And so a couple of weeks ago, do you remember what we talked about so far? Last week was what? Anybody? Be what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What kind of a church is this? Last week was be light, right? Okay, it's all about being light. Okay, if you're in your Bibles in Matthew 5, this is all from Matthew 5, so you just go back a couple verses, right? So, before be light, our very first one was what? The Beatitudes, which was what? Be what? Blessed, right? Okay, so we talked about being blessed. We talked about being light. Those are two things that followers of Jesus do. The third thing today is be holy. Okay, so holy is kind of a loaded word and a really churchy word. Okay, so we're going to get into that a little bit today. But first, I want to tell you, when I was a kid, my parents would do all kinds of stuff. But they would tell us we had to do things, right? There were certain rules that we had to follow. Now, of course, as a kid, 3/4 of those rules didn't make any sense to us. Okay, because it was like, well, why? Why can't I do that? Or why should I do that, right? And so parents, you all know the answer to this question, right? Because I said so, right? So, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Most of us, that's kind of our approach to what being holy means. We say, well, why should I do these things that God says? We say, well, because God says so. And to us, who follow God already, to us who have given our lives wholly to Him, that makes sense. Right? Because, well, we follow God. Of course we're going to do what He says. But here's the thing. There has to be a compelling reason. Right? There can't just be, you can't just tell people, be holy and do what the Bible says because it says so. Okay? It doesn't really work. So this week, okay, in my classwork in college, I'm in my very last semester now. Woo. Okay, well, when I say last semester, what I really mean is last semester of the first half. Okay? Okay, last semester of undergrad, still get to do seminary for 3 more years. Okay, but here's the great part, okay? And I can honestly tell you this. 4 years of college, I've learned about 3 things, okay? That's it. Okay, but one of them this week, one of my classes, all right, I had to watch a video from TED Talks, okay? TED Talks are great. Okay, so there's a guy named Simon Sinek, okay, who has been all over my Facebook page lately for some things he said about millennials and things like that. But anyways, in his video, his whole purpose behind this video was, you have to have a compelling why. You have to have a reason behind what you do, okay? Because if you tell somebody what to do, that will not compel them to do it. But if you can tell people why they should do it, then there's a compelling reason to do something. So, before we jump into our scripture here, we have to look at what Jesus gives as His why. Because before He goes into this how to be holy section, He tells us exactly why we ought to do what God tells us to do. And so He says this, starting in Matthew 5:17. He says, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. So he says, first of all, he's like, I'm not here to get rid of the rules. Okay, bummer, right? I'm not here to make things easier. I'm here to clarify. I'm here to show you why. I'm here to demonstrate what life looks like if you actually do what God has asked you to do. He says, I'm here to fulfill it, to show you what that life looks like. Then he says this, he says, I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So he says, here's your why. Now remember, we've been talking about eternity thinking, okay? Looking at eternity. They're seeing our life not as what's happening now, but what's going to happen when this one is over. And so he says, when you look at that, that ought to be the compelling why. That ought to be what convinces us to be holy. Because he says, if you even break the smallest rule, you break even the smallest one, you are going to be the least in the kingdom of heaven. You might make it, but you're like bottom of the totem pole. He says you're going to be the least. He says whoever keeps these commands, whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. He says when it comes to heaven, holiness is important. And so what we need to clarify here is this. Because we talk about grace and we talk about law, right? And so sometimes we think that following the law, being holy, living a good life is what earns us our grace. That based on how we live is how much grace we get. But here's the thing, if you think about it, it's kind of reversed. Because the more I mess up, the more grace I need. The more I mess up, the more grace I need. And so, what we have to know here is that we are not, our compelling reason to be holy is not so that we can make it to heaven. Okay? Because he even says, even those who break the law, they're still in the kingdom of heaven. They're just the least, right? They're the very bottom. But they're still there. So what he's saying is our compelling reason, the why behind why we should be holy, why we should live a good life, is because it's important. He says there's an important factor here. If we look at Jesus' life, I can see very clearly what that important factor is. God did not set up rules and laws to hold us back from something that we really want. He set up rules and laws to keep us from doing stupid things. To keep us from having the worst life ever. All the rules and the laws that God sets up, everything you'll find in your Bible is not depriving you of any great thing. What it is doing is that it's keeping you from all the things that are going to hurt you and ruin your life. And so he says, you want to have a good life? Let me show you how. Let me show you how to fulfill these laws. But then he has to go into some specific ones because there were issues, okay? Most of us would agree there are issues in our world now. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So he's addressing specific things, and he says, first, he says, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. So he's clarifying. He says, hey, the law says don't murder anyone. Okay, guess what? I can fairly safely say none of us have ever murdered anybody, right? Okay? Pretty safe assumption. Okay? Because if you did, you were probably in jail somewhere. Okay? But here's the thing. He says, it's not about following the law to the letter. It's not about reading it and going, oh, well, as long as I'm not murdering, I'm fine. He says, these laws are not a head issue, they are a heart issue. Because in our heads it says, well, it just says don't murder. I didn't do that, I'm good. And the people in his time, they were doing exactly that. Especially the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They hated everybody. They would hate anybody they could get a chance to. And he says, that's not the point. The point of this is not simply do not murder. It's to treat people with respect. It's not a head issue, it's a heart issue. Holiness starts in the heart. Because here's the thing. Before you murder someone, guess what happens first? You probably hate that person. So it starts, the root of all of this holiness and the root of all the bad stuff, it all starts in our hearts. It all starts with what we fill our lives with. So he says if you fill your life with hate, guess what it's going to lead to? It's not going to lead to godly things. It's not going to lead to holiness. And so his solution is, he says, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. So get this. Jesus sets up this rule, right? Which essentially, we boil it down, it means, if you hate somebody, don't you dare come into the altar. Don't you dare come into church if you hate somebody, right? That's how we read it. But here's what he's really saying. He's saying if you have problems with someone and you're dealing with something, go deal with it. Go fix it. Don't waste time. Don't, for lack of a better word here, dilly-dally. Okay? Those are one of my mom's words. He says, stop right now, stop where you're at, and go fix it. Go bring healing. Go do what is right. And then he goes on, he says, you have heard it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. There it is. Back to the heart. Remember? It's a heart problem. Because guess what? Adultery doesn't just randomly happen. Okay? You don't just stumble into that situation. Guess what? It started, as Jesus put here, lustfully looking at people. It starts with the small stuff. In our hearts are slanted the wrong direction, and it leads down the road to adultery. And so he has a solution for this too, and it's pretty dramatic. Ready? If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. I feel like if we actually abided by that, like strictly to the letter, there'd be a lot of blind people in the world, isn't there? Yeesh. And then he says, it's better, but here's the point. He says, it's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. His point is this. His point is not that you should literally go and gouge your eye out. Okay? His point is this. Sometimes making the changes that lead to holiness are hard. They're difficult. Because they're habits, they're things in our lives that we have to look at and point out and call it for what it is so that we can get rid of it. And if we're completely honest, sometimes the things in our lives that don't belong, they're things that we kind of want to keep. We don't necessarily want to get rid of it. And so he's saying, hey, it's going to be difficult, but it's better for you to feel like you're losing this thing, whatever it might be. It's better to feel like you're losing that now than to have all of you thrown into hell. And then he goes on, he says, it has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for marital unfaithfulness, causes her to become an adulteress. Here's the thing. Okay, in Jesus' time, here's what was happening. And maybe this sounds familiar. In Jesus' time, the men had all the power. Okay? The woman didn't really have any power, so the woman wasn't about to go divorce the man. So the man had all the power in the relationship. So here's what would happen. A man would essentially do whatever he wanted. Okay? So, it sounds a lot like the African culture that I told you about. Okay? If you're not a Christian in Uganda, you can have as many wives as you want, you do whatever you want, you don't even take care of your own family. But here's the thing. There were these men in that time who were taking advantage of this. So, essentially, in Jesus' time, there were these men who would divorce their wife for just about any reason they could find. Okay? Because they were technically abiding by God's law. Okay? Because, well, we were married, and then now we're not, so now I can remarry and do things the right way. So these men would divorce their wives for any reason they could find. Okay? And I'm talking any reason. Okay? And the analogy to our time now would be, husbands, you come home, the dinner is not made. Divorce. Okay? Any reason. They would get divorced for any reason. And he's saying, no. He's like, this is not how God designed this to be. Okay, God designed marriage to be a forever thing. But, he says, except for marital unfaithfulness. And I love how this translation words this. Okay, because a lot of times when we hear this, we see it as adultery, right? It's specifically that word, adultery. But the word here for marital unfaithfulness has all kinds of different meanings. Okay? So really what it comes down to is you're being unfaithful as a partner in the marriage. Not necessarily that you're stepping out, but that you're being unfaithful to the vows you've made. You're not being respectful. You're not taking care of your husband or wife. Okay? You're not being faithful in your marriage. So he says, except for marital unfaithfulness, in which case it is allowed. But he says, that's it. That's it. He's like, you should not be divorced like 84 times and have 85 wives. Okay? He says, there are specific reasons God has set up marriage to be the way it is. He said, it's a forever thing. And so he corrects them again. And finally we get to the one that we read this morning, which says that again you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but keep the oaths you have made to the Lord. But I tell you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. Some of us know that, right? Simply let your yes be yes and your no, no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Here's the point. Okay? Here's what he's saying in the scriptures. He said, hey, listen, you don't need to swear. You don't need to make promises. You don't need to put all these stipulations. He's like, if your yes is yes and your no is no, that's all you need. It shouldn't be that we try to weasel our way out of things. Because many times, and I see this in our society all the time, we look for the loophole. Okay? We look for the loophole. One of my favorite examples of the loophole is this. As you know, my last name is Yoder. Okay, so naturally, I grew up around a bunch of Amish people. Okay, so in fact, my dad was Amish when he was a kid. But here's the thing. Okay, we all know, or maybe we don't. Okay, the Amish. Okay, when you join a church. Okay, so let's say in this situation, you join Markle UMC. Okay, and you decide, I no longer want to go to that church. I'm going to leave and go to a different church. Okay, I'm going to no longer be United Methodist. I'm going to go down the street to the Church of Christ. Okay, so in the Amish church, when that happens, you are shunned. Okay, literally for like 7 to 10 years, depending on what church you're in, you are shunned. Which means you're not allowed to share food from the same bowls. You're not allowed to buy anything from somebody in the church. I mean, like for real shunned. But here's the thing. This is their rule. Okay, it's been their rule for a long time, but they find ways around it. They say, well, here's the thing. You're shunned, right? So I remember my dad's brother joined the Amish church and left when their kids were, their oldest was probably 8 or 9. So they left the church, they were supposed to be shunned. Okay, so the problem is, his wife's parents were still Amish and still members of that church. So, what they would do is, at dinner time, when they were not allowed to share the same bowls and they weren't allowed to be at the same table, they'd set up 2 tables and they'd set them this far apart. And they would just have separate serving bowls on that table. They still shared the meal. It like defeats the whole purpose. He says, we shouldn't be looking for loopholes. When you say you're going to do something, just do it. You don't need to put all kinds of promises and these stipulations. Like he says, just let your yes be yes and your no be no. Do what you say you're going to do and don't do what you say you're not going to do. He says, it's simple. Just do it. And so he lays out all these rules. Okay, he says, he clarifies, because we're always looking for the loophole, which is the head part of our faith. It's our head saying, how can I get around this to still have the life I want to have, while also doing the life that God wants me to have? How can I do both? Well, the problem is, as we've stated many times, it starts in your heart. Because if your heart is not in the right place, if your heart is not seeking holiness, none of the rest of you is going to. And a lot of us don't realize that the reason that we have the thoughts, the reason we want to do the things that we want to do instead of what God wants to do is because the things we want aren't lining up with what God wants. But it is possible in our lives to have what we want be the exact same as what God wants. And it starts with our heart. We have to have a heart. Remember a couple weeks ago, we were hungering and thirsting. We have to have that heart. The heart that hunger and thirst for God. A heart that wants nothing more than more and more of Jesus. Because when we have that, these things aren't difficult. These things aren't hard when we have a heart that wants Jesus. Because we end up wanting exactly what Jesus wants. So we don't see it as being deprived. We don't see it as something we're being held away from. We see it as this great opportunity to have a better life. To live a life that is above everything else. To live a holy life. And so if we want to be holy, it has to start in our hearts. It doesn't start up top in our thinking. Because in order for our thinking to change, our heart has to change. And so that's how you be holy. And we are called to do that as disciples, as followers of Jesus. He wants his disciples to be holy. That's why he spends so many chapters in Matthew sitting on the side of a mountain telling them how to be holy. Okay, it's important. Jesus did like 3 years of ministry. You know what that means? That means he didn't waste any time. He didn't just sit on a mountain and preach because he could. Okay, he packed meaning and emphasis into every word. And so for us, if we're going to follow Jesus, we have to be holy. We have to seek out holiness. And it's got to start by seeking out Jesus. By saying, hey, I've got room. Come on in. Because we've got to have a change of heart. That's where it's got to start. And so that's what I'm inviting you to today. I'm inviting you into a change of heart. To see the world differently because of who you have living in you. Because you remember, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that's what I'm inviting you to today. I want you to be full of Jesus, to be so full of Jesus that the holiness just pours out naturally. Because let me tell you what, if you can fill your heart with Christ, the rest all just comes. It's natural. And so that's where we've got to start. We've got to start by being filled with Jesus. And so that's what I want today. So I'm going to pray, and then I want to invite you, if you feel like you're running on empty, you're like, man, I'm trying so hard. I've tried over and over and over again, and I'm still working so hard at this. Come and be filled. Be filled with Christ. Okay, I will pray with you this morning. Okay? Because that's what I want. I want to see people filled with Christ and holiness just naturally spreading into the world. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for your grace. Because we know that as hard as we try to be holy, we fail every day. But we know too that your grace is new every morning. And that you offer it to us. And so we pray today, God, that you would fill us with your Son. Fill us with your Spirit. So that our hearts would be transformed for you. That we would empty ourselves out and be filled with you. So that our hearts and our minds would be in sync. That we would want and do the things that you want and do. And that we would see these rules, these laws, not as roadblocks, not as hurdles to be jumped, but as guidelines to show us the way. Work in us and make us holy in Jesus' name. Amen.